Even though Tekken Tag 2 was a fun game, after its release the series was in trouble, a failed crossover with Street Fighter and relying on a free-to-play PS3 exclusive to keep the series alive. Things weren't looking good, and then... With the series at an all-time low and a shoestring budget, Tekken 7 had to succeed. So did it do just that? Well, that's what I'm here to find out. I'm looking at Tekken 7 today. Technically the last game in the Retrospective series. Obviously Tekken 8's out now, so I can talk about that as well, but that's technically not a Retrospective. So this is it. This is the final of this series. It's been an incredible journey looking back at these games, but this is the final one, and I'm back playing it on the PlayStation. So I've had to put up with my PS4 sounding like a jet engine for the last couple of weeks. So yeah, without further ado, got nothing else to add. Let's get straight into it. The mid-2010s was a bit of a rough patch for the series. Tag 2 sold. Well, it sold a few copies. It was one of the worst sold games in the series, and the next few years wouldn't be too great either. The crossover with Street Fighter was a bit of a fail, which wasn't really Namco's fault, but it meant that the crossover they were developing, which would see the Street Fighter universe in the Tekken engine, would be silently cancelled. The only Tekken games we would see in the next few years would be mobile RPG games and a free-to-play online game on the PS3 called Tekken Revolution, which is actually pretty good. We also got a Tekken game on the 3DS, but nothing for my boy the Vita. Nah, that's just disrespectful in my opinion. But in the summer of 2014, we'd finally get a look at the next game in the series, and man, this reveal trailer is something else. It doesn't give too much away, but it sets up the main focus of the game's story perfectly, the feud that started it all, Heihachi and Kazuya. But just forget about the weird English dub.
You killed my mother.
I don't know why they did that. The trailer got me hyped for the game, but it would be the longest wait for a new Tekken game ever for console release. 5 whole years between the release of Tag 2 and Tekken 7 to consoles, and on June 2nd, 2017, we'd finally see the game release on PS4 and Xbox One. Just like the Tekken 6 intro, Tekken 7's focus is mainly on the story. This time, I think it makes more sense, considering a lot of the marketing and trailers leading up to the game focused on the feud between Kazuya and Heihachi. But honestly, it doesn't make it any more memorable. It feels like the intro to a TV show. The music isn't great either. I get that they've tried to focus on the story mode more, but so did Tekken 4's intro. But it was executed way better. I don't think I've ever watched the intro all the way through. I'm a little disappointed with this intro, and I think it could have been way better, considering what they're trying to build up. I really wanted to be positive about it, but like a lot of things in Tekken 7, when I compare it to other games in the series, it always seems to fall short. Right then, let's have a look at the game mode. Hold on a minute. Where have they gone? Where are they? Can't find them. They're not there. Can't find them anywhere. Just 1 second. Where the hell have they gone? No, it's not under there. No. Yeah, just give me 1 second. Looking for something. I'll be back. Okay, is it in here somewhere? Are they in here? It might be in here. No? Maybe they're in there. Oh, what is that? Yeah, don't mind me. I'm just looking for the fucking missing game modes. That's it, 4 modes: arcade, treasure battle, versus and practice mode. That's it. No time attack, no survival, no team battle. Why did they take them out? I know that the game was on a budget, but surely it wouldn't have cost much to add them in. There's not even a ghost battle to level up and earn money. It just seems a bit empty. They added Tekken Bowl as DLC, which I'm going to let them off considering the game didn't have a big budget. And also, exclusively on PlayStation 4, a VR mode, which sounds cool, but it really isn't. I don't have footage because I no longer own a PSVR, but it's basically a practice mode on Infinite Azure, where you can look around. It's basically this. I played a bit online for this video and it's dead. I had 2 quick matches and it was against the same person. I think it was just us 2 on the servers, so I can't go into detail as much as I want about the online aspect. But from what I played, everything worked fine. I'm sure there are people watching this that had a lot of time spent online in Tekken 7. So if you're one of those people, leave a comment below on how the online was back at its peak. Last but definitely not least is of course the story mode. Tekken's first attempt at the Mortal Kombat / Injustice story formula that works so well in those games. So how is Tekken's answer to those? Well, it's pretty good. With over 14 chapters, this mode is definitely something you can sink a few hours into, and almost makes up for the lack of other modes. It mainly focuses on Heihachi and Kazuya, so you'll be playing as both of them most of the time, with a few other characters chucked in, you know, memorable Tekken characters like Elisa, Lars, and Akuma. Yeah, you know, the well-known Tekken character, Akuma. The best thing about this mode is the different scenarios you find yourself in. The game literally starts with a fight between Kazuya and Heihachi, when Kazuboy was just a little kid. I'm sure it's just a nice little sparring set. Oh! Or being able to take part in the opening intro to Tekken 5 is a really nice touch. It does get quite difficult as you get through the chapters, but it's definitely a rewarding experience, thanks to how well the story is told. I think it could have done with a few more chapters where you play as different characters, but it was clear the main focus was the Mishima feud, and they did a great job showing that in this mode. And there's also this part where Lars has a gun. Imagine trying to explain this to someone back when Tekken 2 was released. Overall, the game does lack most modes you'd expect from a Tekken game up to this point, but it was clear that the Mishima Saga and the better online play were the main focuses in this game, and they were both pulled off brilliantly. Well, talking about the Mishima Saga mode is the perfect segue to the story, which takes place right after the ending of Tekken 6, where Jin sacrifices himself to kill Azazel and hopefully destroy the Devil Gene and save the world. Just as I was writing this, I realised that there must only be a year between Tekken 4 and Tekken 7, considering all the games in between seem to take place just a few days or months after each other. Anyway, with Jin missing, there is no one in control of the Mishima Zaibatsu, so up steps a man I can only describe as the Japanese Vince McMahon, Heihachi Mishima, who takes back control of the Zaibatsu by swatting rockets like flies, twatting soldiers with doors. Honestly, Heihachi must be on the Eddie Abu diet. I can't believe this pension is still moving like this.
Half enough, half shit and half shit. Guys, wake the fuck up. Bake your own bread.
Obviously, once Heihachi takes control, the war between him and Kazuya wages on, and an unnamed journalist, the person narrating and guiding us through the story, starts to investigate the feud between the two. It's a great setup, and even though I didn't really like the role of the journalist back when I first played it, I think it actually adds a bit more to the story and how the outside world sees the feud in the Tekken games. I'm not going to spoil the whole story here, but there are a lot of twists and turns, so much so they almost makes Heihachi look like the good guy. I say almost because he still locked his dad under the floor of a dojo so he could take control of the Zaibatsu in the first place. See what I mean about the Vince McMahon energy? But I think ultimately the way the story is told is great. The feud between Kazuya and Heihachi, meeting its climax, the flashbacks to everything that happened during and even before the feud makes it very memorable, and that the final fight, which I'm not going to spoil, is one of the best endings in Tekken history. I still don't know why the fuck they chucked Akuma in there for. What do you want? Okay, 1, why are you speaking Japanese? And 2, why can I understand you? Yeah, we're not doing that. Yep, okay, you carry on. Anyway. So how's the gameplay in Tekken 7? Well, considering this game single-handedly saved the franchise in the competitive scene, you can imagine it's pretty good. This is the first game to use the Unreal Engine, and the devs brought the same fast-paced Tekken gameplay over perfectly. Like I've said multiple times through these videos, the Tekken formula has been almost perfect since Tekken 3, with the devs making little tweaks, some good and some not so good. But with Tekken 7 it seems like there was a clear direction where to take the gameplay, making it equal parts fun and exciting, but also balanced and smooth for the competitive scene. Rage has been changed a bit, now similar to Mortal Kombat's X-Ray system, lets you perform a one-off super move that can help keep you in the fight once your health reaches a certain point. I used to hate these back in the day, but you've just got to know when to block them and stay out of the way of your opponent. It adds another layer of strategy to the gameplay and adds a bit more excitement to each round. Just go and watch some Tekken 7 clutch moment compilations on YouTube and you'll see what I mean. The way the gameplay sets up these moments, and even the sort of photo finish element when both characters are low on health with one of them getting the last hit, it's easy to see why this game was so loved in the competitive scene and brought players old and new back to the series. For someone who isn't really into the competitive scene, so much so that I got my ass handed to me when I entered a tournament at a gaming convention a couple of years back, I still really appreciate what the devs did with this game and the risks they took with the gameplay, which definitely paid off. So this is where things get a bit tricky. Tekken 7 is the first game to have a season system implemented, which means that over the years more and more characters are added for a price. Season passes and all those types of things have always confused me, especially in fighting games. I looked at the DLC for Tekken 7 and it just confused the hell out of me. I just wanted all the characters accessible and couldn't figure out what I needed to buy. But thankfully, the Complete Edition, which is normally at an eye-watering price for a 7-year-old game, went on sale for less than £20. What I'm trying to say is when the game first released and was getting supported with new updates, it was a nightmare as a casual player to keep up. But now, you can get everything in a nice little package for a fraction of the price. So when it comes to characters, I will be talking about them all as a whole, and not really judging the DLC prices and value for money, seeing as the game is, well, 7 years old now. With the full complete edition of the game, you get a massive roster of 51 characters, and 36 characters on the base game, meaning a whopping 15 characters were added over its lifespan. Most series favourites return, like Lily, King, Asuka and Hwoarang. We also get some new characters too, like Kazumi, Heihachi's wife and Kazuya's mom, and also Master Raven. We also get some strange additions as well, like Goigus. I still don't know what the fuck that's supposed to be. And Lucky Chloe. I'm not going to lie, most of the new characters in Tekken 7 are quite forgetful, just like in 6, but I can see the effort being put into their designs. Again, one of the main reasons they're forgetful is because of the lack of character endings, which I'll talk about a bit later. The seasonal updates did have some very interesting characters though, some of them being old series favourites like Lei Wulong and Julia Chang, some new exciting characters like Leroy Smith and Fukuram. Fuck. This isn't even in the script. I don't know how to say his name. Fuckum Ram. Sorry if I've offended anyone doing that. And then guest characters like Noctis from Final Fantasy 15, Geese Howard from the Fatal Fury and King of Fighters series, and Negan from the fucking Walking Dead.
Pissing our pants yet?
This has to be the weirdest crossover I've ever seen in gaming history. It's like seeing Walter White showing up in Street Fighter. All in all, Tekken 7's roster is quite good, and if you can get the complete edition on sale, you're going to have one of the most unique rosters in Tekken history. It's a shame none of them have real endings, but they're all customisable and in the most strangest ways ever, and all play really well. And with the game having a massive focus on its gameplay, I think that's all that matters really. I'm not going to lie, Tekken 7 stages aren't great. They have the same problem that Tekken 6 stages had, in that most of them look quite grey and boring. I will say that the visuals do look great though, thanks to the Unreal Engine. They are really detailed, but still, they just aren't as memorable. I do prefer them over Tekken 6's stages though, and I think a lot of the DLC stages make up for some of the more dull ones. There's still a lot to like here, with a lot of them having destructive elements like the floor and wall breaks, and a great mix of closed off stages and more infinite ones, like Infinite Azure. The music is okay as well, not the best in the series, but still quite enjoyable. It's like a mix of house and dubstep. Almost feel like some of the stages should be taking place in the nightclub scene in John Wick. One of the songs is a remix of a Tekken 4 song though, so obviously that's one of my favourites. Like I said, while most of them are quite dull, some of them stand out, and here are some of my favourites. My favourite from the original set of stages has to be Duomo di Cielo stage. It looks absolutely insane even after 7 years and is still one of the best looking stages in the series history, and I guess the music's okay as well. Speaking of music, one more thing I need to mention is the Tekken Jukebox, which is a PlayStation exclusive. Similar to Tekken tunes in Tag 2, it lets you change the background music on the menus and stages, and even includes all other Tekken game soundtracks free of charge. Being able to use all of the music and even use preset playlists for each game is a massive bonus, and probably explains why I don't remember much of the music in Tekken 7, because I just use this. In the end, Tekken 7 stages aren't the most memorable in the series, but are still decent enough and a lot better than what Tekken 6 had to offer, and with the addition of the jukebox made them a lot more enjoyable. It's quite difficult to talk about the boss fight in Tekken 7, as there's technically two. There's the final fight in the story mode, which I'm not going to talk about for spoiler reasons, which is probably one of the most difficult fights in any Tekken game, but I will talk about the Kazumi boss fight. Similar to Jun in Tag 2, the Kazumi fight takes place over 2 rounds, with her 2 different phases, and she's not that difficult to beat. To be fair, she isn't that memorable, and I think there's a few reasons for that. Obviously the first one being the game's story now focuses on the Mishima Saga mode, so there's no reason to take her on as a boss. Also, she's quite easy to beat, and last but not least, and my biggest problem with Tekken 7 is of course the lack of character endings. Now Tekken 7 does technically have endings of sorts, but they're not great. They're called character episodes and only have one fight in them. They give you a bit of backstory and then the endings. They're okay, but they all take place in the game's engine, similar to Tekken Tag. It's just really disappointing after the endings we got in Tekken Tag 2 that we went back to this. I know the game was on a budget, but still, this is really disappointing, and one of the reasons that I kind of disliked Tekken 7 when it first came out. The one thing I will praise in Tekken 7 when it comes to endings is the gallery, which includes every single opening and ending and even some artwork from each game in the series. It's a great addition and almost makes up for the lack of real endings in the game's arcade. I said almost. Tekken 7 will never be remembered as the greatest game in the series. It took out a lot of things that made Tekken games great, but what it will be remembered for is literally saving the franchise with its exciting gameplay and its great end to the feud that started it all. Tekken 7 deserves a lot of respect. I can't believe I'm coming to the end of the series now. It's been a really fun experience going back and playing all these great games, and also seeing my channel grow along with it, so thank you for making the Tekken Retrospective series a massive success. And I hope you stick around to see the next series I'm going to be talking about. So that is it for Tekken 7, and for the last time in the Retrospective series, I'm going to put Tekken game in the tier list. It's technically not the last one because I will be talking about Tekken 8 later on, but that's kind of a new game and kind of not a retrospective series, seeing as it only released 3 months ago. But yeah, it's time to put Tekken 7 in the tier list, and I'm going to have to put it in B tier. And I know a lot of you probably hate that decision, but for me personally, it takes out a lot of things that make Tekken games special. The stages weren't great, there was a lot of missing game modes, the characters' endings weren't there. It had a lot of same problems that Tekken 6 did. There was just not that Tekken magic in the game. The story mode was great, and seeing the reaction to the online and competitive play was amazing. If it wasn't for this game, we wouldn't have Tekken 8, and I think Tekken 8's an amazing game. It's like this on steroids. But yeah, I'm very respectful and very thankful for this game, because seeing how everyone reacted to it post-launch was just insane. It brought the fan base back to the series, new and old. And I haven't seen a Tekken game have this much cultural significance since Tekken 3, so that's a big ask for a game, and I respect it, but for me personally, like I said, it takes out a lot of things that make Tekken games great. Unlocking new characters endings, and a lot of game modes, and yeah, for me it sticks in the B tier. I respect it just like Tekken 1, but for me it's not my game. It's not my game. So I'm sorry for any Tekken 7 fans out there, but it was just missing that magic, and it's a bit disappointing in that aspect. But everything else, I respect it fully, and it's an amazing game. So here is the tier list in full. I'm actually quite happy with my decisions on that tier list. I'm going to stick to it. There's none I want to change really, and I'm going to add Tekken 8 to it, so I am going to break a rule. I wanted to keep 3 games in each tier. I'm probably going to break that rule with Tekken 8, considering how much I enjoy that game. So yeah, but that's almost it for the Tekken series. One game left, and the retrospective is kind of over. The next game will be a review. It won't be a retrospective because the game's only been out for 3 months. So that is it. So that is technically it for the Tekken retrospective series. I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who supported the channel through watching the videos, liking the videos, commenting, subscribing. It really means a lot, and over the past 3 months it's been insane. So thank you so much to everyone who stopped by to watch these videos. I know a lot of you haven't subscribed yet, but please subscribe because it's almost time to talk about the next series. And I asked people to vote on a poll last week, and there was a clear winner, and I'm going to talk about it sometime in the near future. I'm not going to say what it is, but I hope you stick around, and I'll see you when I see you.